Take that off. The command cut through the ballroom. Black Maid Elise Morgan stood beside a champagne station in a simple black service dress, one silver medal pinned above her heart. Billionaire Nathan Whitmore turned from a group of donors. His fiancée was already crossing the room. Elise, Vanessa said louder now. I said take it off. Elise looked down at the medal. No, ma'am. Vanessa smiled, but there was no warmth in it. You are working tonight. You are not a guest, and you certainly are not military. Elise's face changed. Nathan noticed. What's going on? Vanessa reached Elise before he could cross the ballroom. She grabbed the ribbon. Elise caught her wrist. Don't touch it. The room went silent. Vanessa's eyes widened. You just grabbed me. You grabbed my medal. Vanessa looked around at the watching donors and laughed. This is exactly what I mean. She wears a costume medal and suddenly thinks she's somebody. Then she yanked. The ribbon tore. The medal hit the marble floor. The ballroom seemed smaller around the three of them. Elise froze. The calm left her face. Nathan saw it. Not embarrassment. Grief. Vanessa lifted one heel as if to step over the medal. Elise moved faster. She dropped to one knee and picked it up before Vanessa's shoe came down. Nathan was beside them now. Vanessa, enough. She's humiliating us. No, he said. You are. Vanessa stared at him. Nathan looked at the medal in Elise's hand. Along the edge was a tiny inscription. He leaned closer, then stopped breathing. The inscription read, For courage under fire. Morgan E. Nathan looked up. You earned this. Elise did not answer. Vanessa laughed again. Oh, please. Nathan ignored her. Elise. She looked at him. Yes. The single word changed his expression. 3 hours earlier, Elise had nearly left the medal at home. It had been buried inside a wooden box for 9 years. She wore it because a handwritten invitation arrived that morning. Tonight, the Whitmore Foundation will honor the survivors of Red Canyon. Wear what they gave you. No signature. Elise had read the card 6 times. Red Canyon was not a name she used anymore. Not publicly. 9 years earlier, a private medical convoy had been trapped during a wildfire evacuation in Northern California. News reports called it a mechanical failure. The official story said rescue teams arrived within minutes. Neither was true. Elise had been 24, serving as a combat medic attached to a National Guard emergency unit. When the canyon road collapsed, she and 3 others crossed the fire line on foot. She reached the convoy first. One vehicle was burning. Another had rolled into a drainage ditch. Inside were 6 civilians and 2 company executives. Elise spent 47 minutes pulling people out before the official rescue team reached them. One man stopped breathing twice. She brought him back both times. Afterwards she received the medal. Then she signed a confidentiality agreement. The company operating the convoy was Whitmore Biomedical, Nathan's family company. Elise had never known who sent the invitation, until she saw the guest list. Nathan Whitmore, his fiancée Vanessa Crowe, and retired executive Charles Whitmore, Nathan's father, the man Elise had pulled from the burning vehicle. But Charles was not at the gala. That bothered her. At 6:45, Elise asked the event coordinator whether Mr. Whitmore was coming. The woman checked the seating chart. He cancelled. When? 20 minutes ago. Why? The coordinator lowered her voice. His driver said he never came downstairs. Elise felt a chill. Charles never missed Red Canyon memorial events. At least, according to the invitation packet. Then Vanessa appeared behind her. You're asking a lot of questions tonight. Elise turned. I was checking the seating chart. You were checking on Nathan's father. Elise said nothing. Vanessa stepped closer. I know exactly who you are. That surprised her. Do you? Yes. A maid who became obsessed with a family she works for. Elise almost smiled. You don't know me at all. Vanessa's gaze dropped to the medal. For 1 second, fear appeared in her eyes. Then she walked away. Now, in the ballroom, Nathan picked the medal up from Elise's palm. His thumb traced the inscription. "My father has one of these." Elise looked at him. Nathan continued. "He keeps it in a locked case. Same Red Canyon emblem." Vanessa interrupted. "Coincidence?" Elise turned to her. "No." Nathan looked between them. "What happened at Red Canyon?" Elise hesitated. She had signed papers. She had spent 9 years keeping quiet. But someone had invited her here. Someone wanted this conversation to happen. "I saved 8 people." Vanessa rolled her eyes. Nathan did not. "Elise, who?" She looked directly at him. "Your father was one of them." Nathan went still. "What?" Vanessa's face lost all color. Elise continued. "His vehicle rolled after the road collapsed. He was trapped behind the passenger seat." Nathan stared at her. "You saved my father's life." "Yes. Why has he never told me your name?" "I don't know," Vanessa whispered. "Because she's lying." Elise looked at her. "You already knew." Nathan turned. "What?" Elise pointed to Vanessa's hand. When Vanessa had torn the medal away, her engagement bracelet had caught on the ribbon. A tiny black plastic tag now hung from it. Elise recognized it immediately. It was a hospital property seal. From Whitmore Biomedical's private recovery center. Vanessa saw it too late. Nathan took her wrist. "Where did you get this?" Vanessa pulled away. "It's nothing." Elise's stomach tightened. The tag carried a printed date. Today. And a room number. Nathan read it. His expression changed. "My father's private recovery room is 412. The gala around them faded into whispers. Nathan grabbed his phone and called Charles. Straight to voicemail. He called the house. No answer. Then Elise's phone vibrated. Unknown number. A photograph loaded. Charles Whitmore was lying in a hospital bed. His eyes were open. Beside him stood Vanessa. The timestamp was 40 minutes earlier. Nathan looked at the screen. His face hardened. "What were you doing with my father?" Vanessa stepped backward. "I can explain." Another message arrived. "Don't let her leave. She knows why Red Canyon was never an accident." Elise felt the metal grow heavy in her hand. Nathan looked at her. "What does that mean?" Before she could answer, every light in the ballroom dimmed. The giant presentation screen switched on by itself. Old emergency footage appeared. Red Canyon. Flames. The overturned Whitmore vehicle. Then a younger Elise ran into frame. Nathan watched her drag his father from the wreckage. The footage continued past the point where every public report had ended. A second man crawled from the vehicle. He looked directly at the camera. Vanessa screamed. "Turn it off." Nathan stared at the screen. He recognized the man. So did Vanessa. Nathan whispered, "That's your father." Elise looked at Vanessa. Vanessa's father had supposedly died 12 years before Red Canyon. Yet there he was, alive, beside Charles Whitmore 9 years ago. Then the video froze. A final message appeared. "The woman who earned that medal knows who set the fire." Nathan slowly turned toward Elise. And Vanessa ran. Vanessa ran. Nathan moved after her, but Elise caught his arm. "Wait." He turned sharply. "She knows what happened to my father. And somebody wants you to chase her." Nathan looked toward the giant screen. The Red Canyon footage had frozen on Vanessa's father climbing from the wreck. Then a timer appeared. 14:59. Elise's stomach tightened. A line flashed beneath it. "Room 412 closes forever." Nathan went pale. "My father." He called Charles again. No answer. Elise pointed toward the ballroom doors. If Vanessa wanted to escape, she would have gone outside. Nathan looked toward the service corridor. "She's going to the hospital. Or she wants us to think she is." Security sealed the exits while Nathan ordered every vehicle tracked. A second video opened on the ballroom screen. Charles Whitmore appeared 9 years earlier inside a medical tent after the fire. A younger Elise stood nearby. Then Vanessa's father entered. Nathan whispered, "Victor Crow." Official records said Victor died 12 years before Red Canyon. Yet there he was, arguing with Charles. There was no audio. Elise stepped closer. "I remember this. You saw him." "Yes. I didn't know who he was." "What happened?" "He kept asking your father whether the transfer survived." Nathan frowned. "What transfer? I never found out." The video skipped. Victor pulled a metal case from beneath Charles's cot. Charles stopped him. Then the footage ended. The timer dropped below 12 minutes. Nathan's phone rang. "Vanessa." He answered on speaker. "Where are you?" Her breathing was fast. "Don't go to room 412. Nathan's jaw tightened. "You were there 40 minutes ago. I was trying to get your father out. You expect me to believe that?" "No. If you reach him before I do, he dies." Elise stepped closer. "Who is controlling the timer?" Silence. Vanessa recognized her voice. "You are." Elise froze. "What?" "The system activated because you wore the medal into the gala." Nathan looked at Elise. Vanessa continued. "That medal contains an old responder authentication chip." Elise stared at the silver medal. "You're lying. Check the back." Nathan found a nearly invisible clasp. Inside sat a wafer-thin black chip. Vanessa whispered, "Your medal was the key to Red Canyon." The call ended. 9:58. They left immediately. Nathan drove while Elise held the medal. 2 security vehicles followed. Elise replayed the wildfire in her mind. The burning road. Charles trapped in the vehicle. Victor appearing where no civilian belonged. And that medal case. What if the fire was cover, she asked. For what? The transfer Victor mentioned. Nathan's phone buzzed. An anonymous file appeared. Red Canyon Asset Movement. A list of numbers filled the screen. Elise leaned closer. "These are medical trial IDs." Nathan looked at her. "You're sure?" "I worked emergency transport before the guard." One code was highlighted. C412. Subject: Charles Whitmore. Status: non-consenting. Nathan stopped breathing. "My father was a test subject." Elise read the next line. "Transfer authorized by V. Crow." The timer reached 7 minutes. They arrived at Whitmore Biomedical's private recovery center. The lobby was almost empty. A nurse hurried from behind the desk. "You can't go upstairs." Nathan kept moving. "My father is in 412. The nurse looked frightened. "There is no patient in 412. Nathan stopped. "My father has been treated here for 6 months. Room 412 was sealed 9 years ago." Elise's blood ran cold. "Since Red Canyon." The nurse looked at her medal. "You're the responder." Every elevator opened at once. A recorded voice announced, "Authorized witness detected. Floor 4 access granted." Nathan and Elise entered with security. Vanessa's voice came through the speaker. "Elise, when the doors open, don't let Nathan touch his father." Nathan looked furious. "Why?" "Because Charles isn't sick." The elevator rose. "He's been pretending for 6 months to force Victor out of hiding." Nathan stared at the speaker. "My father knew Victor was alive." "Yes. Why didn't he tell me?" "Because Victor isn't the person he fears." The doors opened. Room 412 stood ahead. 311. Nathan rushed forward. Elise grabbed him. "Wait." Black cable ran beneath the door. Security checked it. Pressure trigger. Someone had wired the room. A scanner beside the door displayed. Responder E. Morgan. Authorization required. Elise pressed the metal against it. The cable disengaged. The door unlocked. Nathan pushed inside. Charles Whitmore sat upright in bed. Live. Alert. Beside him stood Vanessa. Behind her stood Victor Crow. Nathan, stop. You're supposed to be dead. Victor smiled. So is half the truth your family built. Charles looked at Elise. You wore the medal. Yes. Then we still have a chance. Elise stepped forward. What happened at Red Canyon? Charles pulled the same metal case from beneath the bed. The fire was never the secret. He opened it. Inside were microfilm reels and a sealed red folder. Victor said, Whitmore Biomedical ran unauthorized human trials through emergency shelters. Nathan went pale. Charles continued. I discovered it too late. Elise looked at Victor. And you? I tried to steal the evidence. Vanessa stepped between them. My father was working undercover. Nathan looked at her. You tore Elise's medal off because you knew it could open this room. Vanessa nodded. I needed the chip before whoever was watching the gala got it. Timer reached 0:45. Charles looked toward the ceiling. They know the room is open. Who? Before he answered, every light shut off. Timer vanished. A woman's voice came through the darkness. Elise Morgan. Step away from the case. Elise froze. She knew that voice. General Rebecca Sloan. The decorated officer who had signed Elise's Red Canyon Medal 9 years earlier. The woman who had personally ordered every survivor to remain silent. Nathan whispered. General Sloan. No answer came immediately. Then emergency lights flickered red. On the wall behind Charles, an old security photograph appeared. It showed Sloan standing beside Victor, Charles, and 3 unidentified doctors before the wildfire began. Elise stared at the date. The picture had been taken 6 hours before the supposed accident. General Sloan's voice came through the room again. Elise, step away from the case. Elise did not move at all. Nathan looked toward the ceiling speaker. You sealed these files for 9 years. No, Sloan answered. I kept them from people who would have buried them permanently. Victor laughed bitterly. That's what she told us at Red Canyon. Charles tightened his grip on the metal case. Sloan, if you were protecting the evidence, why did you order every survivor to sign silence agreements? Because the people running the trials controlled half the emergency contracts in the state. Elise stared at the photograph on the wall. You were there before the fire started. Yes. Then tell me who started it. Was. Not from that room. The emergency lights switched to white. A hidden panel opened behind Charles's bed. Inside was a stairwell. Sloan said, Take the case downstairs. Leave every phone behind. Nathan shook his head. We're not walking into another trap. Elise looked at the medal in her hand. The chip inside it blinked. A message appeared on the monitor. Responder E. Morgan verified. Second witness required. Elise turned. Who's the second witness? Charles answered. Your commanding officer. Elise stared at the speaker. Sloan. Victor's face changed. She can't authenticate remotely. Nathan understood. She's in the building. A door slammed below. Vanessa moved toward the stairwell. We have no time. Elise stopped her. You tore my medal off in front of 200 people. Vanessa met her eyes. I thought public humiliation was better than letting Sloan's people realize you still had the chip. You could have warned me. I didn't know who was watching. They descended. The stairwell ended in a concrete medical archive beneath room 412. Sealed cabinets lined the walls. General Rebecca Sloan stood at the end in civilian clothes. Elise, you gave me that medal. I gave it to you because you saved 8 people after we abandoned the road. Elise's jaw tightened. You didn't abandon it. You ordered us back. Sloan's eyes lowered. Yes. Nathan stepped forward. Why? Sloan looked toward Charles. Because your father discovered the emergency shelters were being used to recruit patients into unauthorized neurological trials. Charles nodded. The Whitmore board approved emergency research exemptions. I thought they covered standard treatment. They didn't, Sloan said. Victor opened the red folder. Inside were patient photographs. One face made Elise stop. Her younger brother, Aaron. She grabbed the page. No. Aaron had died 10 years earlier after unexplained seizures. Sloane whispered. He was trial subject 31. Elise looked up. My brother was part of this. Yes. Before Red Canyon. 2 years before. Her grief became anger. You knew. I learned after his death. Elise moved toward her. Nathan caught her shoulder gently. Elise. Stop. Who authorized the trial? Sloane looked at the final locked cabinet. Open it. The cabinet required the metal and Sloane's fingerprint. They authenticated together. Inside was one black ledger. Nathan opened it. The first pages listed trial subjects. The later pages listed payments. Actors. Contractors. Government consultants. Then one name appeared repeatedly. Margaret Whitmore. Nathan froze. My mother. Charles went pale. She died when Nathan was 12. Sloane shook her head. No. Margaret designed the trial network. Nathan stared at his father. You knew. Not until Red Canyon. Then why did you tell me she died from cancer? Charles looked ashamed. Because she disappeared after the investigation began. Another file slipped from the ledger. Photograph. Margaret Whitmore. Live. Standing outside the recovery center. Timestamp. Yesterday. Vanessa whispered, she's here. Every archive door locked. A woman's voice came through the speaker. Nathan recognized it instantly. Mother. Margaret laughed softly. You always were quick, Nathan. The monitors switched on. Security footage showed private guards sealing the hospital exits. Margaret continued. Elise Morgan should have died at Red Canyon with the evidence. Elise stared upward. So the fire was meant for me? No. A live feed appeared. Aaron Morgan sat in a chair. Older. Live. Elise stopped breathing. Margaret said. The fire was meant to make you believe your brother was already dead. Elise gripped the desk. That's impossible. Aaron lifted his head toward the camera. Elise. Her knees nearly gave way. Margaret's voice hardened. Bring me the medal, the ledger, and Nathan Whitmore. Nathan looked at Elise. And if we refuse? The feed widened. Aaron was not alone. Beside him sat Vanessa's mother. Sloane whispered. She kept every witness. Margaret answered through the speaker. Not every witness. The final screen activated. A bed appeared. A man lay unconscious beneath monitoring equipment. Charles dropped the metal case. Nathan stared. The patient was Victor Crow. But Victor was standing beside them. Everyone turned toward him. The man they had trusted as Vanessa's father slowly smiled. And removed a thin prosthetic mask. The man wearing Victor Crow's face reached behind his ear and peeled away the prosthetic mask. Vanessa stumbled backward. Who are you? My name is Daniel Mercer. General Sloane went rigid. Elise noticed. You know him. Sloane nodded. He ran security for the original trial network. Nathan stepped toward Daniel. Where is the real Victor? Daniel pointed toward the monitor. There. The unconscious man on screen shifted. Vanessa covered her mouth. Daniel continued. Margaret Whitmore kept Victor alive because he knew where the original patient registry was hidden. She kept Aaron for the same reason. Elise's eyes locked on her brother. Take us to them. Daniel smiled. I was waiting for that. The archive lights turned red. A steel door opened behind him. Margaret's voice came through the speakers. Daniel, don't be foolish. He looked upward. You lied to me too. Elise grabbed the black ledger. Nathan took the metal case. Sloane led them through the door. The corridor ended inside an underground treatment wing. Aaron sat behind a glass partition. Victor lay in the next room. Margaret Whitmore stood between them. Nathan stopped. Mother. She smiled. You grew into your father's weakness. Charles stepped forward. You used our company to experiment on people. I used an opportunity. Elise held up Aaron's file. You stole my brother's life. Margaret's expression did not change. Your brother survived because the program continued. Aaron shouted behind the glass. Don't listen to her. Margaret pressed a control. A countdown appeared. Data purge. 5 minutes. If that reaches 0, Sloane said, every trial record disappears. Margaret looked at Nathan. Give me the ledger and sign control of Whitmore Biomedical back to me. Nathan laughed once. No. Then the evidence dies. Elise looked at her medal. The responder chip was still blinking. Sloane, can this access the medical system? Only with a command witness. You. Sloane understood. They rushed to the central console. Margaret ordered guards forward. Daniel intercepted one. Nathan blocked another while Charles pulled the emergency release beside Aaron's room. Vanessa ran to her father's chamber. Elise pressed the medal into the reader. Responder verified. Sloane placed her hand beside it. Command witness verified. A new option appeared. Release all records to public authorities. Margaret screamed. Don't. Elise pressed yes. The monitors flashed. Upload initiated. Margaret lunged toward the console. Vanessa stepped between them. You already stole enough lives. Margaret slapped her. Vanessa did not move. The upload reached 100%. Data secured. Federal agents entered minutes later. Margaret was arrested with the remaining trial administrators. Daniel surrendered and agreed to testify. Victor recovered. Aaron was freed after years under a false identity. Charles publicly admitted Whitmore Biomedical's role and opened every company archive to investigators. Vanessa faced consequences for attacking Elise at the gala and hiding evidence, though her cooperation helped expose Margaret. Months later, Whitmore Biomedical funded restitution for surviving trial victims and their families. At the state ceremony, Nathan stood beside Elise as General Sloane returned the repaired silver medal. You earned this twice, Sloane said. Elise shook her head. Once was enough. Aaron smiled from the front row. Nathan looked at Elise. My fiancée tore that medal off because she thought it made you look important. Elise pinned it above her heart. It never made me important. She looked toward the families receiving compensation. It reminded me why I couldn't stay silent. The gala had begun with humiliation. It ended by exposing a secret medical network, freeing hidden witnesses, and bringing Margaret Whitmore's empire down. And the medal Vanessa tried to tear away became the key that opened everything.